It seems like every week SCP fans are asking two questions. Why hasn't there been a big budget SCP movie or series, and will there ever be one? The answer to the second one is probably not, which is confusing because it seems like every couple of months someone drops an incredible fan film and often they rack up like millions of views. SCP is already huge and people clearly want more cinematic live action SCP stories. So why hasn't Hollywood touched it? No movies, no TV shows, nothing. How do they look at incredible high quality films like Overlord and 096 and not start getting ideas? The Foundation clearly has enough demand to make money, which is what every studio wants, so why do they seem to absolutely ignore it? Well, that's the thing. I guarantee you Hollywood knows all about SCP and they have decided it's not worth it. But there's a fundamental reason why SCP can never get a traditional Hollywood movie adaptation. And once you understand why, you'll also start to see why that might actually be an okay thing, or maybe even a good thing. First, let's understand why Hollywood does adapt things and why it's spent pretty much the last 20 years doing exactly that. The answer? Eyeballs. Your eyeballs. The modern internet is a machine created to siphon off your attention. And just because a big studio spends a bunch of money marketing a new movie, that doesn't mean their efforts aren't going to be drowned out by the latest viral shorts trend or political madness or whatever happens to be occupying your eyeballs this week. So recognizable IP is a great hedge in the attention economy. People already know about Superman. They already know about aliens. Brand recognition is much easier to sell than something completely new that you have to warm people up to. The SCP Foundation should fit that mold, right? It seems perfect. It has a massive built-in fan base clamoring for more awesome films, a bottomless Creative Commons goldmine of amazing and beloved stories that you don't need permission to adapt, and any film producer worth their salt will tell you that good horror in an existing IP is one of the safest bets you can make in the global film market. Wait, did I just say Creative Commons? SCP is open source, and that's a deal breaker. Well, actually, that's not entirely accurate. The SCP Foundation IP is licensed under a very specific kind of open source called Creative Commons Share-alike 3.0. Put simply, the rules are anyone can copy, redistribute, build upon your creation as long as they give you credit and they release it under the same license, even commercially. And this is a big part of what's allowed SCP to become so ubiquitous and beloved. It's the reason why we have 9,000 SCPs now and a bunch of awesome video games and fan films. And it's also why you get a lot of those SCP content farm channels that everyone loves so much. So why is this such a non-starter for big players? Well, in a traditional IP, say Five Nights at Freddy's, one person owns the IP. Scott Cawthon calls the shots on everything related to FNAF because he owns the rights, and that's why we were able to see Freddy Fazbear on the big screen. He licensed the film rights to Blumhouse and Universal. He's the rights holder, so all of it flows back to him. Now let's say Blumhouse says, FNAF did great, what are other video games we can adapt? Maybe we can adapt the OG indie survival horror video game, SCP Containment Breach. They don't need to get Undertow Games approval because of Creative Commons, so that's easy and awesome, but that's about where the advantages end for Blumhouse. So they produced their SCP movie. It's got a star-studded cast playing everyone's favorite Foundation characters. The anomalies are lore accurate and authentic. The effects are looking incredible. Everyone from fans to general audiences are getting insanely hyped, and it's looking like it's going to be the biggest horror movie of the year. Netflix wants to premiere it on their platform, and they do. Now it's a cultural phenomenon, and everyone's paying attention. Namely, competing streaming services. HBO looks into it and their legal team is like, yeah, turns out we can just cam rip this thing from Netflix and throw it up on Max and not face any legal consequences whatsoever because it's legal. So now Max is saying, look, we've got SCP Containment Breach too. And you're like, well, should I watch it on Netflix or HBO Max? And the answer to that question is, who cares? So now Max is swooping in and making money off of Netflix and Blumhouse's investment without having any stake in it whatsoever. They're a completely irrelevant third party. And then A24 is like, hey, horror fans love physical media, right? We're gonna take this thing and make our own special edition Blu-ray and we won't have to pay Blumhouse or Netflix a single cent. And to compete with A24, they need to come out with their own Blu-ray edition, and suddenly it's like an SCP flea market where everyone's slinging pirated DVDs out of the back of their Corollas.
And this supposed to be the Matrix? You got the mattress on here, man.
Yeah.
You gotta get your...
You can see how the market would quickly be split across competing fair use distributors where no one is making as much money off the film as if one person just owned it and had exclusive rights to it. And that's the problem that Hollywood has no doubt ran the war games on. Because in reality, a producer could and probably would make some money off an SCP movie. They might even make a lot of money off of it, but they will never be able to make all of the money on it. And if you're a producer and you pitch that idea to your investors who you have to pay back, They're going to laugh you out of the office. You're going to get fired right then and there because they think you're crazy. At the end of the day, a traditional film studio needs to make money. No studio is ever going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars or even just a couple million to produce something that they won't have the exclusive rights to. And under the Creative Commons license, there is simply no way to produce an SCP movie while also making sure that you're the only person who can ever make a profit off of it. It's impossible. In fact, if you actually tried to do that via anti-piracy measures or DRM, that would literally be illegal according to the share-alike license terms. So yeah, SCP is never going to get a traditional Hollywood movie.
So no
SCP movie.
But that doesn't mean it can't get a movie. This is my question to you. What if you didn't need to make money on an SCP movie? What if you didn't need investors? What if all you need is enough fans who finally want to see it happen? An SCP movie is clearly long overdue. It's a universe that's been growing nonstop for nearly 2 decades. And for that reason, I'm of the opinion that it's not a matter of if we're going to see Peanut on the big screen, it's only a matter of when. Someone is going to make it happen. And that is exactly what we're doing here at Keter Labs. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who the heck is this guy? What is this channel? Why do they think they're the ones for the job? And you're right to ask that, because I'm not really anyone important, much less in the SCP community. Fortunately, you'll be able to make that judgment for yourself because we've already produced the first 10 minutes of our proposed SCP Containment Breach movie, and we're dropping it soon. Like, real soon. It's only meant to be a proof of concept so that you can make the judgment for yourself whether or not we have the filmmaking chops and the love of the SCP Foundation that a project like this would need. But I think you're going to enjoy it. It was a pain in the butt to make, but also an incredible experience. I've been an SCP fan for a long time, like shortly after it even got started in 2008, but I got obsessed with it for a while after the Containment Breach video game blew up with Markiplier and his channel. And since then, SCP has just been one of those beautiful things that you keep coming back to. The film actually got into some pretty insane film festivals, Beyond Fest in Los Angeles and Film Quest in Provo, Utah. The reception was really honestly incredible. People were loving it, clapping, cheering. So to have that kind of validation from festivals that are screening films from Guillermo del Toro, covered by Variety, it's really kind of insane that SCP is now in that mix. And honestly, it's an honor, just as a filmmaker. We've got a lot to share with you in terms of our vision for the film's direction, the Kickstarter. It's a Kickstarter. We're launching a Kickstarter next year. But I don't want this video to get too long, especially after I've made my point. But I'm telling you, the SCP Foundation deserves to have a full-length movie. It's totally possible within the licensing restrictions, and someone is going to do it eventually, like I said. It's just not going to be Hollywood. Crowdfunding is the only option. It has to be us as a community making it happen together, so let's do it.
Just do it! Make your dreams come true!
Thank you to all my fellow filmmakers and artists whose SCP films we cut into this video. I hope we get to work together. If something grabbed your interest, you hadn't seen it yet, we've got links to everything we used in the description. Subscribe, hit the bell, sign up for our mailing list at thescpmovie.com, and stay tuned for our brand new SCP Containment Breach short film coming very soon. Thanks. Excelsior.